If you have an online course or are thinking about having an online course, I want you to pause and watch this video because I am about to save you an incredible amount of heartache by avoiding these mistakes. These are the 7 biggest mistakes that course creators make and how to avoid them. You see, I have helped people create digital products for the last 11 years, and I've helped people create online businesses through my own online programs for the last 6. And I have learned a thing or two, and not only working with my own programs, but in helping thousands of people with theirs. So do yourself a favor and get this shortcut. And if we haven't met before, my name is Sarah Turner. I'm an 8-figure course creator. I have generated over $25 million in sales personally with my online courses, and I've helped thousands of people start their own online business. I've been ranked number 24 in education on the Inc. 5000 list. I've been hired as a consultant by Meta, and I've had many of my own students go on to work for Fortune 100 companies. And I don't say any of this to brag, but just to share with you a little glimpse into how I might know a thing or two about what I'm talking about today. There's a lot of experience packed in this video, and I want to make sure that I save you a ton of heartache and frustrations with this particular topic. And I'm not only going to help you with avoiding these mistakes, I'm going to tell you what to do instead so that you have the best chance of success, or you can troubleshoot any issues that you may have already experienced as an online course creator. Let's dig in, shall we? So mistake number 1 is skipping market validation. Listen, if you are not in the world of marketing and business, I get it. Even the phrase market validation can sound a bit dry and jargony, and it can lead people to think that it's something that's out of reach or overcomplicated, or there's a particular right way of doing it. And so sometimes they skip it altogether. Or they make the mistake in thinking that because they're excited about it or people in their lives are excited about it, that it will be something that is successful in an online course format. And so it's really important that just because you're excited about an idea, it doesn't mean that it's something that people will actually pay for. But actually what's more common is that usually there needs to be some refinement in the specificity of your offer so that you can clearly communicate its value to your prospective students. So 9 times out of 10, when somebody comes to me with a program idea and they haven't really validated it yet, usually we just need to get more specific. The other problem with skipping market validation is that if you build something and then nobody comes, you might think that there's a problem with the course, when in reality, you just need a bit of better positioning or differentiation to really set yourself apart. Or sometimes your ICA, your ideal customer avatar, needs to either be more specific or it needs to be somebody who is ready, willing, and able to actually pay for a program to experience the transformation that you are offering. Okay, so what are some ways that you can validate your idea? First, you can pre-sell your program in a beta test before ever creating it. This is really helpful because you'll actually get to get people to go through your process as you are fleshing it out. This is a much better process than sitting in a room by yourself with your blinders on and building a program and then trying to sell it, because you're going to interact with people, and what you're going to realize, what I definitely realized in working with people in my own program, is there's probably aspects of the process of the transformation you're walking somebody through that you've taken for granted, that you don't realize you need to teach on or explain. The other thing is you might realize there's an aspect of your transformation or your program that people really gravitate towards. Maybe it's a quick win or something that feels really good. And those are the things that you actually want to focus on, because that's going to give people the motivation and inspiration to keep going. So you can run a beta test, but you can also run polls or surveys. This is especially helpful if you already have an audience. If you do not already have an audience, it's super easy to pop into a related group, a Facebook group, to become a helpful voice in that group, and then to optimize your social media profile, usually Facebook, to show people who you are and what you're trying to solve. You can build a little bit of a reputation for yourself there while interacting with people who are trying to solve a similar problem. I'll give you an example. I had a client that I was helping build out an online course for the elimination diet, or basically making sure that you removed everything from your diet and had a really simple diet that didn't have a lot of factors in it that people would be potentially sensitive to or things like that, and slowly introducing foods back in so they could figure out what the root cause was of their gastrointestinal problems. So where did we start? We started by joining a bunch of related face groups for people people who were trying to solve or optimize their gut health. Now, it's important to remember that in these groups, you can't do any self-promotion most of the time, but what you can do is gather information, have conversations, build a little bit of a reputation for yourself for being somebody who is helpful and curious. Now, if you already have authority on a subject or you've already been providing a service one-to-one, you already have some people that you can reach out to start gathering information from. And don't be afraid to do this. Don't be afraid to reach out via email, via phone, via text, and to start asking questions. Now, something that's really important to remember here is that you want to make sure you are actually communicating with people who you could truly help through the transformation. It doesn't do you any good if you are working with people who are your best friend or your mom or your sister or somebody who is, not quite the perfect ideal client, but somebody who is maybe your cheerleader or a friend, because they're not going to give you that quality information and that unbiased information that you really need to inform whatever you create. The other thing that you can do for market research is just some basic Google searching for keywords. You can use tools like Answer the Public. You can see what people are searching for when they type into Google. What are the suggested questions that Google then recommends, because that's what people are typing into. You can look at search volume. You can also do a competitor analysis, see what else is out there. And don't let that discourage you. If you see something that is similar to what you want to offer out there, it means that it's been validated. And the thing is there's so much space for so many different varieties. Just look at the health industry. There are a million online coaches who are teaching yoga and weightlifting and nutrition, and there's still space for more. So don't let that discourage you if you find something out there that you think is similar to what you want to offer. That's actually a good sign. But ultimately, you want to make sure that you put your preliminary idea into the hands of real people. All right, that brings us to mistake number 2. And that is pretty related, but it's building a huge course first. I can't tell you the number of times I've had students who go out and they are like, you know what? I only have one topic I really want to teach on, which I get. And they build a massive, massive program that they pour so much time and energy into, only then to launch it and to hear crickets. And there's nothing sadder than that to me, because oftentimes that will lead the course creator to thinking that their program wasn't a good idea, when in reality, they just skipped steps and they needed to actually create their program alongside real humans so they could incorporate the feedback that they had with that particular program. The other thing that's super important to remember that a lot of course creators think is that they need to have a program that is an all-inclusive or a comprehensive course in order to be successful, and that is absolutely not true. What I would really recommend that you start out by doing is by helping people achieve a quick win, something that is smaller and a step along the way to whatever your ultimate transformation is going to be. And quite frankly, you might just start and stay small. There are a lot of people out there with digital products who are, $47, $97, who are earning lots and lots of money. There are people who have $1 million businesses with small digital products. Now, the other problem with building out a massive program is sometimes you need to take people along that customer journey. And all of this, making sure that you build a program alongside real people, for example, will prevent you from being discouraged, from becoming burnt out, or from thinking that there's something wrong with the actual program itself. Okay, so what do we do instead? Start with what's called an MVP, or a minimum viable product. Start with something small, like a workshop, and have it be tested and actually do it live so that you can interact with people and get feedback and integrate it into the next iteration. In fact, that's one of the things I'm always reminding my students, is that creating digital products is an iterative process, meaning it will grow and change over time. Because this is the cool thing about digital products. They live online, and so they can be continuously updated and changed and reformatted, whatever it is that you think you need to do in order for it to be more impactful and more successful. So with this minimum viable product, test engagement, put it in front of different groups of people. You can even offer it for free. I really recommend starting out at a lower or a discounted rate to get started rather than completely free, because people will have a little bit more skin in the game and be more likely to actually do the work and see the results, which you need to increase your social proof. But figure out what is the smallest thing that you can help somebody with. What is the smallest program you can put out into the world? And then use the student feedback that you get to improve it over time. So instead of sitting down and spending 6 months building out a massive program, put together maybe a 2-hour workshop that you can teach live. Okay, let's talk about mistake number 3, and that is overloading your program with a ton of content. That is a massive mistake, and I see a lot of people do it, and I really think that they often do it because they think it's going to increase the perceived value of their program, when the reality is you're probably just going to overwhelm your student, you're going to tank your completion rates, which is going to reduce the amount of social proof that you have and the success that your students see overall. It's not great. Think about it. Your students would be thrilled if you could help them achieve the same transformation in a fraction of the time. The goal is always to help them achieve that transformation as quickly and as efficiently as possible and not waste their time. Okay, so how do we avoid this mistake? We focus on the transformation and what somebody absolutely needs in order to achieve it, and not anything extra, at least at first. If you just think about what do they absolutely need to know and cut out the rest, your students will thank you. The other thing that you can do is to keep your lessons really short and concise. Making them more bite-sized is going to increase the likelihood that people will actually sit down and take them. I also encourage my students to listen to my lessons kind of like a podcast or in 2x speed. These are simple ideas that help them consume more of the content while they're on the go and living their life. For newbie course creators, I actually recommend that each lesson has a script. This will make sure that you are not rambling or over-explaining. It will help you come up with ideas and stories to implement before you actually record, and it will make sure that it is as concise as it needs to be. My students are constantly telling me that they need to revisit lessons multiple times because it's so concise. That's the kind of feedback you want to hear. Okay, mistake number 4, not charging enough. I'm also going to touch on charging too much, but by and large, the students that I work with are not charging enough. Because I work with so many heart-centered entrepreneurs and people really interested in having an impact, 9 times out of 10, I am really working with them on making sure that they charge enough for their programs. Not only do you need to charge enough to pay your bills and yourself, I mean, that's one of the reasons people create online courses, right? They're scalable and you can create so much freedom for yourself, both in time and financially. But also it is important that people buy into their own transformation. If free information was enough to make people achieve the things they want to achieve in their life, everyone would be where they want to be. There is so much free content online, but people really love and appreciate accountability and following a concrete path, which is what most programs offer. It is the path through the process, and it's really concise and guided and takes you through every step along the way. All too often, I see course creators pricing based on what they think people will pay for rather than the actual value of the transformation. I'll give you an example. I was talking with a student who had put together everything that you need to start an animal rescue nonprofit. And this is something that she had sifted through all the information that she needed in order to set one up herself. It took her a year to get through all this information. So obviously when she's creating this, she thinks, I would love to just be able to give it away for free. But the reality is she is already giving away an incredible amount of her time for free with her nonprofit. And she had to do an incredible amount of work in order to learn everything that she needed to learn. And she noticed that there are no resources online that have been compiled in a cohesive way that walked her from beginning to end. So as we were talking about pricing, at first she was thinking like $12. But the problem with pricing at that price point is you need a lot of volume in order for it to work for you as a business. And she has to compensate herself for her time, because if she doesn't, she's not going to be able to put food on the table, pay for her own nonprofit, and she's not going to be able to continue putting this value out into the world. It is just the reality of the society we live in. You have to be able to pay your bills in order to have a business that thrives and that allows you to help more people. So we were talking about it and I said, listen, take a step back and think of yourself at the beginning of this journey and all that you had to go through in order to get what you need to get. What would you have paid in order to skip all the heartache, all the frustrations, all the dead ends, all the time that you spent? And she thought about it and she said, honestly, I probably would have paid $1,000. But did she charge $1,000 right away? No, because after we had that realization, we realized that, well, $12 was definitely not enough. But $1,000 was probably hard and out of reach for a lot of people, especially if they didn't understand exactly what they would be going through in order to set this up. So we found a nice middle point of about $500 so that they could have everything they need to get this nonprofit started. Because here's the thing, if there are people who have other jobs and careers like she did, but they wanted to be able to start this nonprofit on the side, they're going to be so willing to pay $500 for everything they need to get started so that they can save time and be able to still do everything else they have in their life. You know what that means? That means there are going to be more people who are able to start animal rescue nonprofits because of what my student is putting out into the world. How amazing is that? And this is so important because if you don't charge enough in your program, it will lead to burnout because you cannot work for free. You won't be able to hire people to help you. You won't be able to invest in tools like software that will make your business run smoothly and make your students happier. You need to be able to fund your business and fund it well. You should have healthy profit margins. You should have a healthy savings so that you can weather any changes. This is just being a smart business owner. Sometimes I do see students who price too high, especially early on, without any social proof. What usually ends up happening is they don't get a lot of sales. That is one of the reasons I strongly recommend having a beta test where you bring people through your program at a lower price point before you build the thing so that you can actually learn from them, make it better, but also get your initial testimonials and social proof, which is going to be essential to actually selling your program at scale. Okay, so how do we avoid these pricing mistakes? First, remember that we are pricing based in the value of the transformation, not in the volume of content. Next, you want to validate the price in a beta offer or a small workshop or something else before you actually land on your final price. And it is likely that your program will increase in price as you go. One of my programs, Write Your Way to Freedom, started out as a $1,000 program and now it's a $6,800 program, but it is completely different. That $1,000 program only had about 10 lessons in it and a weekly live Q&A with me. The $6,800 program has 4 coaches, live editing, direct feedback, live Q&As, a community, a program that has over 60 lessons. It is a completely different program. And so again, remembering that this is an iterative process, you will likely increase the price of your program as you increase the value, and just know that. So start wherever you're at and it will be okay. You will grow over time. Another pricing mistake I often see people make is that they do tiered pricing. But what that really does for most people is it complicates their decision-making process, which is a killer for conversions. I hate tiered pricing. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I see people recommending it because they think that they want to give more options and that's going to help people. But I've seen so many times how as soon as we eliminate the tiered pricing, sales increase. And that's because when people are down to a buying decision, if there is any confusion at all, it is highly likely that they won't make a decision, period. So get rid of the tiered pricing. Just have a paid in full and one payment plan. And instead, if you are thinking, but this program is better for this kind of person, this program is better for this person, what I want you to think about is what is the transformation and what program gets them the transformation, period. And sell that version of it. This will help you so much. And plus, anytime you can keep things simple in your business, it's going to make everything a lot better. And the final piece of pricing advice I have for you is don't look at your competitor pricing. I mean, look, glance, but take it with a massive grain of salt. There are going to be people out there who are selling programs for pennies, but what they're going to find when they get inside is probably something that's not that quality. So try not to let that influence how you price your program all that much. I am telling you, there are high ticket programs, meaning $3,000 and up for literally everything. So just know that you want to actually base in the value of what your transformation is delivering on above all else. All right, mistake number 5, that is doing it all yourself. Listen, my friend, you gotta get help at some point. And this is one of the reasons I want to encourage you to charge premium pricing, because you're gonna, at the very least, need to start hiring a VA and eventually grow your team. At my peak, my team was 21 people. I've since then decided to downsize so that I could run a more nimble team and so I could spend more time with my babies because I had 2 babies in 2 years. That's one of the beautiful things about being a course creator or somebody who has digital products and online offers is that you get to decide what your business looks like. You can scale to the moon and have $1 million months like I have, or you can scale back and just have a few people on your team that take off some of the load so that you can focus on the thing that you really love doing within your business, which is really where you want to be. But when you start out, you'll probably be doing most of it. You'll film, you'll record, you'll edit. I did. I started by doing all of it on my own, and it was an incredible amount of work. And I always used to remind myself that I was building freedom. I would say, I know this is a lot of work. I was working on my programs. After working on my actual work, I had days where I wasn't even showering because I was had a mission to get things done. And I just reminded myself, this isn't how I always want my life to be. I'm actually trying to build freedom. And that is the thing that kept me going. Eventually, you want to hire people to help you with the tasks that you're not the best at, or that are really time consuming, or quite frankly, that you just don't love. And there are always people out there who like the tasks that you don't like. So you just gotta find the right people for your team. And trust me, this is one of the biggest mistakes I see entrepreneurs make across the board is that they try to do everything themselves. They become the bottleneck in their business, and it really prevents them from growing. And quite frankly, it makes them not put out as high quality of work because there are always people out there who can do aspects of your business better than you can. You just have to take the time to train them on your preferences so that you can free up your time to do the higher level tasks. Okay, so how do we avoid this mistake? Start outsourcing when you need it. The great thing is there's so many platforms where you can hire people just to take off little tasks, hire a VA for 5 hours a week even. And that will help free up your time so that you can focus on other things. So start outsourcing and delegating as soon as you can. You can also use software and AI tools for automations and efficiencies. That is one of the best things about being alive today is that there are tools that will help you automate so much in your business that you will be able to grow and scale in a way that people even 10 years ago couldn't have dreamed of. So take advantage of the incredible tools that are out there, and it's worth taking the time to learn them. Or at the very least, hiring a VA who loves learning these tools. All right, let's talk about mistake number 6, and that is not motivating your students. So this could look like poor engagement or boring delivery. One of the things that I think course creators forget is that once you have people in your program, you have a job to motivate, inspire, and encourage them to keep going. Because if you don't, then you miss out on that precious testimonial. They miss out on that incredible transformation. And it's a terrible use of time when you think about it. You've done all this energy and marketing and effort to build the course, to get them in it. Now you've got to do a little bit of motivation to keep them going. So what are some of the ways that I see this show up? Monotone delivery in programs, not having activities that people actually apply what they're learning to their real life scenario, not having a community element where they can connect with people on the same journey as them. These are all things that I've seen people do that kind of make courses fall flat. Okay, so how do we avoid it? Storytelling in our lessons, having animations even, or having thoughtful exercises, asking questions, having workbooks, getting people to really engage with the materials. Another thing is having a community. I am a big, big believer that communities are one of the easiest and best elements that you can add to your online program because that's how you get people engaged and holding themselves accountable and connected. It is the feel-good part of your program, and it isn't nearly as time-consuming as you think it is. You can also have quizzes, assessments, and challenges within the community. And anytime you can rope in real world examples, and one of my favorite ways of doing this is having student success stories where people talk about how they applied the program to their own life and you share that with your students, that will give them an opportunity to connect with other people, but also to see themselves in their stories, to get new ideas and insights. And it really helps with inspiration and motivation. All right, this brings us to our final mistake. And that, my friend, is not having a rock solid marketing strategy. Listen, I've seen too many course creators throwing spaghetti at the walls. It doesn't need to be like that. When you have an automated system in place, it does the heavy lifting for you. And a lot of it is work that you have to do on the front end, but it can deliver results for you for years to come. I am telling you, some of my funnels that I have built for myself and for my clients have been running for over 6 years. It's incredible. So take the time to invest in the strategy and in the tools and build yourself a rock solid funnel so that you can start earning money while you sleep. Yes, that elusive passive income that people love to talk about. You want to make sure that you are building your audience and your marketing plan alongside your program. They are equally as important. In fact, you'll see that most of the content online is about the marketing side of things. I have over 11 years of digital marketing experience and funnel creation and copywriting, and I am here to tell you that it is not enough to just build it and think that people will come. You have to be able to tell people what it's about, to handle their objections, and to really connect with them. And quite frankly, good marketing is world building. It's how you're going to attract perfect fit people into your program, and it's how you're going to have wonderful student success stories and have a business that you absolutely love working with your students in. Truly, it's amazing. And quite frankly, you'll probably make some good friends along the way if your marketing is really connecting with just the right people. I know I have. Okay, so how do we avoid this mistake? Start to think about building your audience before actually launching. If you already have an audience and you're building a digital product, that's amazing. But start thinking about how you want to build your audience. And my number one tip for you is to pick one channel that works for you, whether it's YouTube organic, Instagram reels, blogging. There are so many different ways to go about this. Facebook and Instagram ads, big fan of that. You want to make sure that you pick something that you actually can do consistently because that is the most important thing. And then you want to leverage the automations that you can create in a funnel. Email sequences, sales pages, lead magnets, things like that. Now, if this is starting to feel like a lot, I want you to know that you can do it. And I actually have an incredible community and program for you called Corsia Collective. I'm so excited to invite you to it today. Corsia Collective is your one-stop shop for digital product creation. It is going to help you if you are starting, it's going to help you if you are scaling, and it literally has everything you need to make your life a heck of a lot easier, including our proprietary AI bot, Josie, who is absolutely incredible at helping you with every step of your journey. I recently had a student tell me that it would have saved her over a year and a half of work if she had access to Josie. So as we know with AI, the output is only as good as the input. And with Josie, the input is over a decade's worth of digital marketing and course creation experience. And when you join Corsia Collective, you will not only have access to Josie, you'll also gain access to the course, which is the process from beginning to end of starting and scaling a program, and you can jump in at any part of the process. You'll also gain access to our incredibly supportive community of other course creators and brilliant marketers who are going to cheer you on and be there for you on the tough days as well. And you get access to weekly live calls with me. That's right, weekly live calls with me and our community leader. So you're gonna get an incredible amount of support. I'm so excited about this program because I know it's going to change your life as a course creator, and I'm hoping you'll join us. There's more information in the description below. And of course, if this video was helpful, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe. And I always love hearing from you in the comments. It's how I come up with ideas for other videos, so share your thoughts below. Thanks, guys.